Well, welcome back to one of the very last daily doses. We are so glad to have walked this faith journey with you over the course of so many years. And if you've been a Christian for any amount of time, that faith may have wavered at some point. When we deal with our seasons of fear or doubt or tragedy, difficulty, whatever it might be, it can feel like God's goodness and faithfulness is further away. Lately, my prayer has been really simple. God, would you help me to end my days with more faith than I have fear? Because I've been in that season of fear. And when we find ourselves in those seasons where our faith is a little wavered, it's important to turn back to who God is and who he's always been and who he will be to you again. So today, what I would like to do is turn to Mark 9 in a perfect example where a father brings his demon-possessed son to Jesus and his disciples. The disciples try to drive out the demon. They're unable, so they bring him to Jesus. We're going to pick the story up in verse 17. It says this. A man in the crowd answered, "Teacher, I brought you my son who is possessed by a spirit that has robbed him of speech. Whenever it seizes him, it throws him to the ground. He foams at the mouth. He gnashes his teeth and becomes rigid. I asked your disciples to drive out the spirit, but they could not." "You unbelieving generation," Jesus replied. "How long shall I stay with you? How long shall I put up with you? Bring the boy to me." So they brought him. When the spirit saw Jesus, it immediately threw the boy into a convulsion. He fell to the ground and rolled around, foaming at the mouth. Jesus asked the boy's father, "How long has he been like this?" "From childhood," he answered. "It has often thrown him into a fire or water to kill him, but if you can do anything, take pity on us and help us." "If you can," said Jesus, "everything is possible for one who believes." Immediately the boy's father exclaimed, "I do believe, help me overcome my unbelief." When Jesus saw a crowd was running to the scene, he rebuked the impure spirit. "You deaf and mute spirit," he said, "I command you to come out of him and never enter him again." The spirit shrieked, convulsed him, violently came out. The boy looked so much like a corpse that many said he's dead. But Jesus took him by the hand, lifted him to his feet, and he stood up. If you can. This man had enough faith to bring his son to Jesus in the first place, so you can't accuse him of none. But Jesus reminds us that it's our reliance on God's power that makes the difference. Our doubt doesn't change God's ability, it changes our own hope. Hebrews 11:1 says this about faith. Faith is the confidence in what we hope for and the assurance of what we do not see. We believe before we see. We trust before we know. We see it time and time again. That's faith. That's the faith that sets us free. The faith of the bleeding woman, the faith of the Roman centurion, the faith of the friends of the paralytic man. Faith has the power to change stories. Faith has the power to change your story. But don't fear the prayer, "Help me overcome my unbelief." It doesn't speak to a lack of faith. It speaks to the distance between where your faith is and where you want it to be. So my prayer for you today is the same as my prayer for me, that you may end today with more faith than you have fear, that you would allow him to help you overcome your unbelief, because he's a really good God and you can trust him. See you later, Daily Dose.